Hello and welcome to the Beaumont Enterprise Sports Department's recap of Newton's huge state semifinal win. I am Raymond Partsch III, Beaumont Enterprise Sports Editor. Beside me is David Berry, Head Prep Writer for the Beaumont Enterprise Sports Department. David, let's start off talking about, Newton very much had a sluggish type of first half. They committed 2 turnovers. One was extremely costly, which gave Blanco a short field and gave them the opportunity to go up 21-14. But Newton found a way. It was very key right there in the final 2 minutes of the first half where Newton was able to drive down the field and punch it in to tie up the game and pretty much just reset the game for the second half, which they dominated.
Yeah, that was key because Blanco had all the momentum. Newton fumbled on the kickoff, and you're looking and Newton fans are probably looking and thinking, like, here we go again. And the key play on that drive was Ronnie Elam. He kind of evaded the defenders in the pocket and found Caleb Foster along the right sideline. He takes the ball 48 yards. They set up deep in the Blanco red zone. And, about 30 seconds left, Newton scores. Like you said, that reset the game. And a team like Newton, they're very well coached, and they're going to go into halftime, make adjustments, and that's exactly what they did.
Well, another thing I found interesting was their game plan tonight, especially on offense, was they threw the ball more than we expected them to, and it definitely caught Blanco off guard. Now, the passes weren't always the most precise, and obviously Ronnie Elam had a couple of throws that he probably would like back that could have been big play touchdowns. But the passing attack, and they even lined up in 3 wide receiver sets a couple of times, that really seemed to catch Blanco off guard tonight.
Yeah, it did, and like you said, there were a couple of those passes. There was one really nice diving play that Tanner Holmes made that the refs ruled incomplete.
They said it hit the ground.
It hit the ground. Right. And you could just tell, Newton, they're a run-first team to the point where, Coach Johnston, he jokes around that they don't do 7-on-7s. No. And, it's just one of those things that they don't pass the ball enough that the quarterback has a ton of comfort when he drops back. But the thing about Ronnie Elam, he's a pure athlete. He's not going to Texas A&M for nothing. And in the pocket, there were times where Blanco linemen or anybody pass rushing, they thought they had a good shot at him. And he just sidestepped, and that gave him an extra couple seconds to find an open receiver. And that was a key. That really was, because early in the game, like you saw, Blanco, they were stuffing the run. And that pass really kind of helped loosen up Blanco's defense.
And not only that, Newton, throughout the game, did not go down on the first attempt. When Blanco tried to tackle them, they broke many tackles. There was numerous plays, even if it was just for 5 or 6 yards, whether it was Elam, whether it was Caleb Foster, they would break the first tackle, break the second tackle, and put forth that extra effort. So they constantly put themselves in a situation where, okay, it may have only been 4 yards on that first down play, but that set up only 6 more to go to pick up the first down. It was at times very methodical, but then on the same hand, they peppered in huge plays. They had the one 78-yard touchdown was to Hanks.
Teron
Hanks, and then they had the 79-yard touchdown that Foster had. So those are 2 huge, big plays. This was my first time seeing Newton in person this year. I had heard that they're really disciplined. They are a hard-hitting team, methodical. They're not really a passing team. They seem to have a lot of big play elements in this offense. And when they're clicking, they can put up as many points as they did tonight.
Yeah, and they really do. They are a team that, I don't know, they don't necessarily need the big play. They thrive off of it because they had drives tonight where they did drive down the field methodically. But those big plays happen because they are athletic. And the thing about Blanco is that they only allowed one team in the first 14 games to rush for over 100 yards. And tonight, this was easily the most yards that Blanco was giving up rushing. And you could just tell that when Blanco hit kids in the first 14 games, most of the time they went down. First hit. And on Caleb Foster's long touchdown run, he ran over a couple kids and he broke some tackles. And you could just tell the Blanco kids were probably just like, what's going on?
It just eventually over and over again just kind of took it out of
wears them out. And one of the big keys really for Newton tonight was Jerron Hanks in the second half. He fumbled in the first half.
You're right.
And that drive, Newton forced a punt. But Coach Johnston said they had a little talk. I'm sure it wasn't too friendly at halftime, but they had a little talk, but it worked.
Coach Johnson made sure to light a fire under his young player, under his young player during the halftime. But that was surprising. I mean, they lost a guy in Jace Thomas last week, and yet they didn't really miss a beat this week. That just really shows their depth.
They really didn't, and it kind of makes you wonder what would have happened if they did have him. I mean, because he's Jace Thomas is their power back. He's the one that that runs up the middle. But Hanks was huge for him in the second half because we said when Newton was up 28-21, they needed a stop. They needed a score, and I think and that would put the game out of reach.
Right.
What happens? Newton's up 28-21. They get that stop, and Hanks busts loose for the long run. That was it, and you could just tell that. For the rest of the game, Blanco was they were deflated, and they couldn't come back.
Now, and as everyone probably knows, not only do we have Newton advancing to the state championship game, we also have West Orange Stark advancing to the state championship games held in Arlington at AT&T Stadium, where the Dallas Cowboys play. This is the first time we've had a team in the state championship round in the UIL state championships since Kirbyville went to back-to-back games in 08 and 09. Let's talk a little bit about Newton's matchup now when they head to Arlington. They'll play, obviously, on Thursday at 5 p.m. in their state championship game. What do we like? How do we feel? What do we like about their matchup in the state title game?
This is going to be they're going to play Waskom. It's a team up in East Texas. I want to say far like Northeast Texas. They're obviously, saying that they're good is kind of understated.
Well,
they're in the state championship.
They made it to the state championship.
But they're fast. They kind of have a lot of people in Texas call that East Texas speed.
Right.
They have it. They've been battle tested as well. They had to fight to come back to beat Sonora tonight. They have a couple. They're kind of like Newton. They have kids that can. They have a couple backs that can beat you. This is kind of where Newton playing those fast teams early in the season. This is kind of where that comes in to help them because they're going to have to be just as disciplined as tonight. The difference is tonight the Blanco backs they weren't as fast, so they were able to kind of catch up with them on occasion. But Waskom's one of those teams that if you get them out in the open, they'll burn you. Even a team like Newton that has speed. So it's going to be you hear it a lot, but it's going to be one of those track meet type of football games.
And some of the best athletes in the entire state of Texas will be on the field, obviously, and it should be a heck of a game. Make sure to follow us all next week online on the Huddle blog, as well as on Twitter, and in the print edition of the Beaumont Enterprise. We'll be covering both state championship games next week and leading up to the games. Also, make sure, while you're here on the Huddle blog, make sure to check out fellow reporters Avi Zayon and Kendrick Johnson's video recap of West Orange Stark's huge win. They recap that about the huge victory and especially about Deontay Thompson's sensational punt return touchdown, which was a game breaker in that game. So make sure to check that out. And as always, Beaumont Enterprise is your source for all high school sports here in Southeast Texas. And we'll see you in Arlington.